Hello, dingy fishing people. Well, I just got back from a trip to Paulina. Say, Paulina. I get in trouble for pronouncing it Paulina, so we'll pronounce it correctly. Paulina Lake. And basically, just giving you guys a little bit of a report. What I used, where I found them, kind of how it went. Got there kind of late in the day yesterday, which would have been the last day of June, June the 30th. And hit the water. Of course, started trolling kind of right at the point outside of the boat ramp. We're marking a few fish. It was definitely not crazy, and the fish definitely do seem very scattered in the lake right now. Um, but we did pick up one small fish, probably about 15 minutes into trolling. And then we continued to troll for about another 45 minutes to an hour without really any luck. It was definitely very interesting. Um, Used to having more success there, but as the day kind of went on, discovered that the fish were not in the deeper sections of the lake. They were actually kind of hugging the bank, and we found the majority of the good quality fish that we found for the day in more of the 55 to 60 foot depth sections, kind of trolling along near the bank. We had run across a lot more fish that were active, and they weren't at that depth. They were running usually between 23 to 25 is where we would have it on the downrigger. And then I was using about 40 pulls back. So, you pull your line out, which I think is probably equals about 2 feet. So, probably about 80 feet back. And then trolling in the neighborhood of about 1.4, 1.5 ended up giving us the most results. The little ones definitely seem to want to play primarily just on the pink. Had to move to like orange and gold. That's the one that started picking up larger fish. So it seems like there's two year classes really that you're catching in Paulina, sorry, and basically there's a lot of fish in the 10-inch range, I'd say, but they're fat. And then if you're catching, I believe the adult fish that'll probably be spawning this year, they were running in the neighborhood of a good 12 to 13. They're a little bit thin, but kind of long. But I mean, just not like anemically thin, but definitely thin structured for what you would get normally for like a 13-inch kokanee. Definitely scrappers. Uh, it's kind of funny when I got one of the 10-inch fish on. I use a small rod. It's usually really sensitive. I was just kind of staring at the rod, just looking at it. It's just barely bouncing, like the most like non-noticeable little bounce. Like it was moving less than if I was seeing the action of the flasher, but it was a little bit different action than what I would normally see. Probably just like a little faster tick. And I was like, I look over at my father and I'm like, is that a fish? I was so not sure. And so I get up and I grab it and reel it in. Sure enough, as soon as I brought up tension on it, I could definitely feel a fish fighting, but it was just the lightest, just bouncing of the rod like he was definitely swimming with the bait. So definitely, be aware that sometimes you could have some super light bites. Not a lot of fish short released. The fish that were being connected, I think we lost two or three out of like the 7 or 8 that we ended up putting in the boat. But yeah, overall it was definitely good. If I'm sure the morning bite would definitely have been better, but just kind of knowing where the fish are, I think, is a big factor. Not be trolling too far out in the lake and being kind of closer up to the bank, where the fish definitely are located. Probably just where the feed are at the time. I'm sure that has a lot to do with the water conditions. The surface was running in the neighborhood of about 55 degrees, so they don't have to be very deep when the water conditions are still so cool. Didn't drop a crawdad trap to see if the crawdads were active. Might give them another couple of weeks, give the water temperature a chance to just come up a little bit more, then they'll become pretty active in there. Alright guys, well I thought I'd just give you a little in-depth on how that trip went so you can have a little bit of a report if you decide to head up to Paulina. Definitely during the 4th of July. It's going to probably be a lot of people there. Um, but good factor is that 1 through 40 in the camp spots are first come, first serve, so they're not reservable. So definitely there's always a chance that there's going to be some spots available. But as we were there, they were definitely starting to thin out. But wasn't quite a bit of available when we got there. So just again, a little heads up. And we'll see you on the next adventure. Take it easy.